So usually in a call, whether it's an IUL, a final expense appointment, which is the main two that we run mortgage protection leads too. But with mortgage protection, what are you going to sell them? You're going to sell them an IUL primarily, right? To use to be able to pay off a mortgage if something were to ever happen to the loved one. Or if they can't qualify for an IUL, you're going to sell them a final expense policy, right? Something that is going to be able to, put them in a position to, pay, at least make payments on the mortgage, put their loved one in a position to where they can make payments on the mortgage while they're transitioning, while they're getting ready to sell the house, while they're doing something. And that's only if they can't qualify for an IUL, right? There's simplified issued IULs, and then there's bigger ticket IULs that NLG covers, F&G, Columbus Life, that will go up to millions of dollars of coverage for people that want to use that to grow tax-free wealth, right? So primarily the discovery is for any call, right? So the way we kind of work it on every call is to, number one, kind of build a little bit of rapport, but along the way, you're kind of building rapport as well. So when the call comes in, or when you get on the call, you're kind of just going to introduce yourself, and then you're literally going to start jumping into the questions. Now, we have a financial inventory sheet. Do you have that financial inventory sheet that we use?
Not yet.
Okay. So that sheet is on the read this first document that I send out, and it's also on Jamie's website. Okay. But I can send you that sheet after we get off of this call. Okay. Let me see if I can pull it up on this device real quick just to kind of show you. So you
Good
have
to
an
meet
idea
some of the
what
other
it looks
guys
like.
here. What's your other name? What's your name, brother?
Good to meet you as well, Joseph. My name is
Hytham.
Hytham.
Pleasure to meet you, bro.
Likewise.
Excited to be here, learn from Sean, and crush this with you guys.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard.
Sure. So let me kind of give you an idea of what it looks like here. Okay. So here's the insured's name. Here's the second insured. This would be like a husband and wife. This is where you're going to start your need questions, right? Now, this is designed to just kind of go through and ask questions. But really what we're trying to teach now is not to teach not to have a script, right? Because scripts don't really, you can have a script and it's great to learn a script so that you can get the concept across. But after that, you want to literally just have a conversation, and you can't have a conversation with the script. So the script is mainly just to get the idea and the concept in your mind so that you can literally go off of that script and go wherever that client takes you, right? Because the questions you're going to ask, they're going to answer those questions, and based off the answers of those questions are going to determine what's the next question that you ask, right? And you'll see how we do that here in a moment. But you're going to put the insured's name. You need to find out their date of birth, height, weight, tobacco usage, right? And then these questions will all come up during the conversation, and you don't have to be in order. Once you start asking the questions, finding the need, finding the pain point, figuring out exactly who, the reason why they want the coverage, digging down deep, these questions will naturally come out, and you may start talking about what they do for work because they brought it up, right? Well, and you may ask a question like, why are you looking for life insurance right now? Well, in my line of work, it's pretty dangerous. So now the work question comes up. Okay, what do you do for a living? Right? We skipped all of this part up here. Okay, we haven't got to this part yet. Okay. What do you do for a living? Well, I'm a lineman. I work on electrical poles. Okay. So how long have you been doing that for? About 7 years. Okay. So do you have any type of life insurance coverage in place right now? Boom. Here's that question right there. Right. So I'm kind of jumping around here. And then eventually you're going to want to get the main health issues out of the way. And one of the questions I just ask is, what prescription medications are you taking or have taken in the past 12 months? And they'll tell you. And the reason why you want to get the prescriptions is simply because, if you just go into asking these questions, you can and you want to. But if you ask the prescription questions, you're going to find out what the carriers are going to find, right? Because the reason why these products are simplified issued is simply because what they're doing is taking their social security number and looking at what prescriptions they filled over the course of the last year, 2 years, depending on the carrier, maybe 5 years, depending on the carrier, and figuring out, okay, well, this person is on carvedilol. What are they using carvedilol for? Well, if you Google carvedilol, now, by the way, if you don't know any prescriptions or what they do, just Google it. Carvedilol usage. What is it for? What is carvedilol for? And it'll tell you that it's for high blood pressure. It's also for heart attacks. It's also for cardiovascular disease. It's also for cardiomyopathy, right? And so it's a tough drug. And you'll get some people that'll say, you'll ask them, what prescription are you on? And they'll say, I'm on carvedilol for high blood pressure. Okay. Well, knowing what carvedilol is for, now you can come up here and say, have you ever had a heart attack, stroke, cancer, mini stroke, anything like that? Nope. Have you ever had any chest pain? Or have you ever had any congestive heart failure diagnosis? No? Okay, cool. So they're only using it for high blood pressure, right? Because doctors will prescribe things for multiple reasons. And we want to make sure that we know that we're prepared before we submit a request to be able to help them, right? And so that's why we're asking, what prescriptions are you on? Then once they give you all the prescriptions, and again, if you don't know what they are, just Google it. Because as soon as you start typing, you can look right here. As soon as you start typing carvedilol, boom, pops up right there. Okay? It can treat high blood pressure and heart failure. It can also reduce the risk of death after a heart attack. Right? Now, if you type in lisinopril, see? Boom. I just type in 4 letters and it pulls it up. Here's another high blood pressure medicine used alone or together with other medicines to treat high blood pressure. So if you don't know what it is, you can ask them, but always Google it until you get familiar with it. Once you start running policies, you're definitely going to start getting familiar with these drugs, right? So this is the financial inventory, and then you're going to just ask them, run through these. Okay, I want to ask you if go through these conditions just to make sure nothing has ever happened before. Have you ever had a heart attack, stroke, mini stroke, or any stents put in? No. Have you ever had diabetes or pre-diabetes or neuropathy, anything like that? No. You don't have to ask the high blood pressure because they just told you, right? They give you the medicine. Any lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, anything major like that? Kidney, liver disease? No? Okay, cool. How about any hospitalizations or surgeries in the last 5 years? No. Any moving violations in the last 5 years? No. Any felonies or misdemeanors in the last 10 years? Yep, I had a felony. Okay. When were you off probation for that? That was about 9 years ago. Okay. So then you want to go into the underwriting guides, or look at the cheat sheets, right? I have my cheat sheet saved right here. Final expense cheat sheet, term cheat sheet. And so you can look right here under the cheat sheet and just look under felony. They're all in alphabetical order. Went too far. Right here. Felony. So with this carrier, Americo, if they had a felony within 10 years, it's a decline. And you can see most of them are a decline, except for American Amicable. They had a felony within 5 years, it's a decline. So in this particular client, they would qualify because it's been longer than 5 years, right? John Hancock, we don't use them anymore, but if we did, any history of a criminal record is a decline, right? Prosperity, we don't use them anymore. We use American Amicable instead of Prosperity, okay? So you can, that's how you kind of use the cheat sheet, okay? So let's kind of get started here. Hytham or Kelly, do you guys want to do the role play, and then I will kind of just stop you in between there and kind of critique and kind of go that route? Who's making all that noise?
What's going on over there?
I think that's Kelly.
Is that you?
No, it's
Is that
not
Kelly?
me. I think it's Kelly.
Okay,
All the papers.
that's you. Okay. All right. So so the way we like to do this is whenever somebody is talking, whenever we're doing role play, everybody else mute out so we don't get any background noise. So that way we can, just kind of go from there and use it as a training call too. So Hytham and Kelly, do you guys want to do the role play, and then I'll kind of just stop and
Yeah, I don't mind. What's the role play about? Is it intro, appointment setting?
discovery.
Oh, discovery. Okay.
Yeah. So let's say, you've already had an appointment set, right? And now it's the first call. And let's say this can be for a final expense or an IUL. It doesn't really matter, right? You can call it a mortgage protection lead, whatever you want. And then just kind of start going through the financial inventory, but dig deep on the pain, dig deep on the why, dig deep on the, what's the reason. The whole point is you want to get to the reason of why now they want insurance and help them understand that right now, and get them to tell you why right now is important for them to get insurance, and help them know that they need to pull the trigger right now. And so by doing that, you just ask the questions, right? And then we'll kind of go. Does that
Am I
make sense?
asking all the health questions, or
It just depends.
is it more of digging for financial?
Well, it's digging for everything, right? Because you want to know everything about the client to be able to put them in a position. I mean, pretend this is a real call.
Okay, so we're doing a whole
Right.
thing then. Okay.
Yeah. So you're going to ask the financial questions. You're going to ask the medical questions. And then once you determine that they are ready to buy right now, then, okay, they're pretty much sold. So now you're just going to submit a request and go into the app and go from there.
All right. I can be the agent.
Okay. Do you want me to do it first and then you do it, or do you want to? Are you comfortable with doing it either?
Oh, I'm comfortable. I don't need you to hold my hand.
Okay. Love that. All right. So you're gonna be the agent, Hytham, and then Kelly, you be the client.
Yeah, I'm the agent and he's the client. Now, my script is a little bit different than the inventory sheet. It's similar, but I have it set my way. And it's off the top of my head, so I'm not reading.
Okay. So go ahead and just jump in and start asking the first question, Hytham.
Kelly, you ready?
Hello? This is Kelly? Yeah.
Ring, ring.
I'm doing pretty good so far.
Hey, Kelly. Hey, Kelly, how you doing? Hey, Kelly, this is
there
Hytham
might
giving
be
you
a
a call.
little bit of a delay, but I'm trying to remember who
Is there a delay?
Hytham is.
Yeah, that's a good question. This is Haitham calling you from Jules Mortgage Protection, and I'm reaching out regarding the form that you filled out on my page, requesting some more information regarding the mortgage protection. It's a
Oh,
type of
okay.
coverage in case
That
if
rings a
something
bell
was to
now.
happen to
Okay.
you, it'll pay off the mortgage for your loved ones.
I
Is
got a
that what
few
you were looking
minutes.
for?
Time out. Time out. Time out. Okay. So first, Hytham, I wouldn't ask, is that what you were looking for?
Okay.
Because he set the appointment with you already. He knows what the appointment is for, right? The appointment is already set. Now we're on the appointment to get them some extra insurance. And so I would just start digging into what got you interested in insurance? Why do you need mortgage
Well, this is
protection, life
Kelly.
insurance, that kind of thing?
All right. Let's start over. Ring, ring.
So far, so good. How can I help you?
Hey, Kelly, how you doing? Good, good. My name is Haitham, and I'm calling from Jules Mortgage Protection, and I'm reaching out regarding the form that you filled out on my site, requesting some more information regarding the mortgage protection. It's a type of coverage that's
Oh,
in case if something was to happen to you, it'll pay off the mortgage for your loved ones. And see, that throws me off. And this type of coverage, in case if something was to happen to you, um, that kind of threw off my script because I
So
usually
what?
ask if that's what you're looking for.
Yeah. So okay. So, and I understand this is kind of a little bit different than what you're used to, Hytham, right?
Right.
Because what I want you to think about is like if you were talking to him and he is the one that filled out the form, he's the one that submitted it, he's looking for mortgage protection life insurance, right?
why?
Right.
Your intuition tells you what would be the next question to ask. Why are you
Right.
looking for life insurance? Why are you looking for mortgage protection? Right? You want to find out why. I know we've kind of trained a little bit more on memorizing scripts, but we're trying to go more on not using the script. And so this is kind of outside the box a little bit for you, which is okay. You're not doing anything wrong, right? We're just expanding on what you already know.
Right. It's
Okay.
just because I'm just used to asking them if that's what they're looking for. So it kind of threw my script off when I don't say that. And
Yeah.
then after that, I let them know what the process is going to be and then dive right into it.
So just to be clear, so you're doing a one call close, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, just
Because
hopefully.
if you already set the appointment, if you called that person and you set the appointment for mortgage protection insurance, and then you got on the call and they knew that we were getting on the call to go over mortgage protection insurance, then we don't need to ask them if that's what they're looking for, right? You're kind of giving them a way out if we're already on the call. We're just going to assume that that's what they're looking for and then just kind of jump right into it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Let me try to switch it up.
But if it's a one call close, that's a different story because you're calling them out of the blue. And so now, since it's a one call close, there's no appointment. They have no idea that you're calling. And so now you're going to, I'm calling you back because you had submitted the request for coverage to pay off your mortgage if something were to happen to you. Is that kind of what you were looking for, or were you looking for something different? Right. And if they say, no, that's not what I was looking for, obviously you might dig a little bit deeper. And then if they keep batting an eye, then move on to the next one, right? We don't want to waste our time. We want to work with the clients that want to work with us. We're not
Right.
trying to force it down their throat, right? We're just trying to work with them by asking the right questions.
Right. And the reason I ask is that what you're looking for is for a couple of reasons. One, my dialer books her own appointment, books the appointments for me. And also, I have clients that book their own appointment. So that's why I double check, because I want to make sure that this is what they're looking for. I've had people say, no, I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for to protect my home in case if it goes on fire or something. So, I try to make sure I ask that question so I'm on the same page. We're all on
Uh,
the same page, to make sure this is what they're looking for. Because, I had somebody booked an appointment and we're talking and presented to her, and then after that, well, no, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking, you know what I mean, like after doing all of that. So that's why I asked that question, if that's what they're looking for, because I have clients that book their own appointment, and also my dollar books the appointments. But also when my dollar book an appointment, I make sure this is what they're looking for, because sometimes you
Sure.
might get something different.
Makes sense. Okay. Sounds good. Okay.
Okay,
Let's
so
jump back in.
it's okay. Is it okay if I ask them that?
Yeah. Now that I
No, this
understand
is.
the context behind it, it makes sense.
Yep.
I got
Yep.
two computers running.
Okay. Ring ring.
No, I'm
Kelly,
listening.
what the hell are you doing there?
No.
Are you reorganizing your
Hello, it's
desk?
Kelly.
Okay.
I'm
All
good
right.
so
Ring ring.
far.
Hey Kelly, how you doing? Good, good. This is Haitham. I'm giving you a call from Jules Mortgage Protection, and I'm reaching out to you regarding the form that you filled out on my site, requesting some more information regarding the mortgage
Is
protection.
this the
It's the
mortgage
type of coverage
insurance?
in case if something was to happen to you, you'll pay off the mortgage for your loved ones. Is that what you were looking for? Correct. It's the coverage is in case if something was to happen to you, it'll pay off the mortgage
Okay,
for your loved
okay.
ones, so they can
That
keep the
rings a bell.
house
Go
and the
ahead.
assets, protect them from losing their home. And that, okay, good. And were you looking for
Well,
coverage just
that's a
for
good
yourself or for
question. I
you
mean,
and your
I'm the
spouse?
primary breadwinner, so it's mostly my income that pays for the mortgage. Why would I need something from my spouse?
Oh, that's a good question, Kelly. So, most of my clients get coverage either on themselves or they get coverage on them and their spouse. For the reason is if their spouse passes away, they might want their policy to pay for the mortgage for themselves, so they can keep have the house paid off. So it's a preference of what you want.
So,
Now, since you
okay,
said
time
that
out,
you
Heidi.
are, yeah,
Time out. Okay. So, that's good. I mean, what you said was good, right? But there's a better way to get to the same point. By you saying most of my clients do this, 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 and this, you're using a third party story, which is great, right? But what we want to try to do is to get him to think about his own pain points. So think
mhm.
about what kind of a question would get him to think about his own pain points. Right there, I would have said, okay, that's a fantastic question. But do you mind if I ask you what would happen if you didn't come home from work tomorrow? Or what would happen if you got in a bad car accident and you were laid up in the hospital for, say, 4 months? Would your
Yeah, but
wife,
but but I'm still
what
trying
would
to figure
happen
out
with
if
the
he's looking.
hospital?
I'm still trying to figure out if he's looking for himself or just for him and his wife. And he's asking me, why would I get it from my wife if I'm the breadwinner? And I was just giving an example why people are look for coverage either for them and their spouse.
Yes, exactly. You're
Because that's
giving them
he just asked why would I want to get coverage for her?
right.
And I was
But by
giving an
asking,
example.
sure, I totally understand. By asking him a question right back, you're still controlling the conversation. If he's asking you a question and you're answering it, he's controlling the conversation.
Right.
Okay. But by you throwing a question right back, you're taking that control back. Now he has to answer you. And
Right.
when you're asking a question that gets him to think, now he's thinking of the pain point. So Kelly asked, well, why does my wife need it? I'm the breadwinner in the family,
Right.
right? Well, let me ask you this, sir. I mean, if something were to happen to you, your wife would be the beneficiary. If you didn't come home, let me ask you this. If you didn't come home from work, and is your boss going to keep paying you if you don't come home and you're laid up in the hospital? Probably not. Most of my clients say no. But if something happens to your wife, you have access to money because you're still working. But would that be a financial burden to pay for a funeral if something were to ever happen to her? And now he's going to come to his own conclusion. Oh, well, yeah, maybe I should get some life insurance for her too. Or he may say, you know what? I can come out of pocket and pay it out of pocket. Either way, he's going to give you an answer that now you're going to come down and start going on, right? And he may say, oh, well, I would have money to pay for her funeral, so I don't have to worry about that. Okay, no problem. Now it's a pain point, right? Would that be, well, it's not a pain point. So you want to dig a little bit deeper to find out if it could be a pain point, right? Like, okay, an average funeral costs about $15,000 to $20,000. Is she planning on being buried or cremated? She's planning on being buried. Okay. If you had to pay $15,000 to $20,000 out of pocket right now, would that be a financial burden to you? And notice, I want you to kind of pay attention to kind of how I'm laying out the questions. I'm laying it out with true curiosity, not to just get a point across, right? I want to truly be curious, because when you're truly curious, then they're going to give you an honest answer. And if they're not giving you an honest answer, you keep asking questions until you get the truth, right? And then they're forming their own conclusion of what they need. You're not selling anything that way. They're selling themselves. Does that make sense, Hytham?
Right. I guess, but that's kind of gearing towards final expense. To
Well,
our,
the
like my
reality of it
clients when
is,
they're I can't approach my clients for that because I'm mortgage protection clients, and like they want to talk about mortgage protection. They're not, like, for me to throw at them a final expense is kind of um throwing off the conversation and what the purpose of what they're trying to do, in a way, because now I'm gearing towards final expense when they're really trying to, their purpose is to try to cover the mortgage, right?
okay. So let
I
me
can
ask you this.
see, like, after I present to him about him, and he said he doesn't want, he's not looking for coverage for his wife. He's looking for him because he's the breadwinner. After I dig for what I'm looking for him, I can offer him, well, do you want, are you looking for coverage for your wife? Just, at least a burial policy so that burden is not left behind. I can offer that as a secondary, like, after I finish what I need to finish about what the main call was for.
Right. I'm just trying to look. However you want to do it, it's totally up to you, right? But reality of it is, we sell life insurance. And
Right.
so if it's a mortgage protection lead and they don't qualify for mortgage protection, you can sell them a final expense policy.
Right.
You
Right.
can also sell an IUL to somebody that just needs 15,000. Do you have to sell them 15,000 of coverage? No. Will they pay for 50,000 or 100,000 or 250,000 of coverage if they see the value in it? Yeah, of course they will, right? But what I'm trying to teach you and guide you is how to get there in a most efficient manner. You know, what we're talking about here is he said that, why does my wife need coverage? Right? I'm just showing you a different way to get them to answer that question rather than you answering it for them. You don't want
Gotcha.
to put words in their mouth. You want them to answer that for themselves. And how do you
Uh,
get them to answer that for themselves? Ask the right questions.
And how about like answering the question and then follow with a question so they can come back with an answer?
Exactly. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, I thought that's what I was
Hey, this
doing.
is Kelly.
Yeah. Okay. All
Okay.
right. Let's jump back into it.
I'm
All right, ring
doing
ring.
good so far.
Hey Kelly, how you doing today? Good, good. My name is Haitham, and I'm calling from Jules Mortgage Protection, and I'm reaching out to you regarding the mortgage, the form that you filled out on my site, requesting some more information regarding the mortgage protection.
You're talking
Is the
about the
type of
mortgage
coverage in case if
insurance?
something was to happen to you, it'll pay off the mortgage for your loved ones. Is that what you were looking for? Yes, sir. That's in case if something was to happen to you,
Oh,
you
sounds
can
like it's
have the
different than the
mortgage paid off
bank.
for your family so they can keep the house and protect the assets.
Well, I've got the mortgage from my bank, and I think the bank's
And what do
got
you
that
mean by that?
covered. But you're talking about something different. Oh, okay,
Oh,
okay.
yeah, you must be referring to the
I
PMI
believe
that you pay
so.
with your mortgage, right?
Maybe you can.
No, is that what you're referring to? Okay, so the PMI is more like a insurance coverage to protect the lender in case if you default on your
Okay.
mortgage. It does not protect if something was to happen to you. So that's a different type of coverage. So the PMI is basically to protect the mortgage lender, not you. With the mortgage protection coverage is basically protection on you in case if something was to happen to you, whether you die, get sick, or injured, it will pay off the mortgage for your loved ones. So it's a totally
Well,
different kind
wouldn't
of
my company
coverage.
insurance? They
This is
got
to
some sort of
protect your
policy on
family.
me. It doesn't cost a whole lot. I think it's a group plan of some sort.
Oh,
So
yeah, so
back
that
up.
sounds like
Time out.
so.
Just back up a hair. Hytham, when you're done saying a statement like that,
Ask a
follow it up
question,
with a question right away.
right?
That way you're still controlling the conversation. Because remember, whoever asks the questions controls the conversation.
Right, right, right. Yep.
I would
Yeah, so
think
that's
just for
the type of
myself
protection.
because,
So are you looking for
she's
coverage
a
just
stay
for
at home
yourself or for
mom.
you and your spouse?
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay. So you're the breadwinner. Okay. Well, just so you'll know that even though she's not bringing in any income, you can also still have protection on her in case if something was to happen to her. It will pay off the mortgage for yourself, so you don't have to be left with that burden on your own. So this will be a simple process. What I'm going to do, Kelly, is I'm going to ask you some questions to get to know about you and the mortgage. And after that, I will ask you some medical questions and financial questions. And based on how you answer those questions, will give me an idea of which carrier can possibly approve you. And then we'll look to see how much coverage that you're looking to get and find the carrier that's going to give us the
Sure.
best
Sounds like a
offer
lot
based on the type of
in one
coverage that we're
sentence,
looking
but
for. Is that fair
okay.
enough?
Okay. Time out, time out, time out. Before I even get that far, Hytham, in talking about the way the call is going to go, I just want to know more about them. I want to know more about their story. I want to know more about why they need insurance. I want to know
That's
more about all
that's
of their stuff, you
That's
know?
my next questions is because I already told them I'm going to ask you some questions to get to know about you and the mortgage, and then I'm going to ask you medical questions and financial questions. The questions that I'm going to ask you to get to know about you is going to be digging into the need and why and the pain points.
Okay. All right. Continue on.
Okay. So this will be a simple process. I'm going to ask you some questions to get to know about you and the mortgage, and then I'll ask you some medical questions and financial questions. Based on how you answer those questions will give me an idea of which carrier can possibly approve you, and then look to see which carrier is
Sounds
going to
good,
give us
but
the
why do
best
you got to
offer
ask me
based on the
medical
type of coverage that
questions?
we're looking for. Sounds good? That's a great question. So every carrier has their own underwriting guidelines, and they approve and decline people based on their underwriting guidelines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you those questions so it can give me a better direction of which way we're going to go instead of going to fill out an application at a carrier and not asking you those questions, and then we get declined and do that over and over, till we find a carrier that declines. So what I'm doing right now is basically I'm doing an initial underwriting,
So you said I'm
so it can
applying
give
for.
me an
Well, you said
idea
I'm
of which way
applying
we're
for
going to
something.
go and which carrier is going to give us the best offer. Sounds good? We're not
Okay.
applying for anything right
So
now.
so see where it's going, right? It's going down a path where you're getting objection after objection after objection, and you haven't even found the need, right?
But that's because he
So
wants to
my
throw it objections. I don't get that many objections like that. He's just making it difficult.
right, but my point is like he's controlling the conversation. Who's the one asking the questions and who's the one giving the statements?
Me,
You're asking the questions?
I'm asking the questions. I'm supposed to be asking the questions. I did ask him the questions, but he just keep coming back with more questions.
Right. And I understand it's a role play and he's giving you a hard time, right?
Right.
But when we start off by getting to know the person to find out where the need is, where the pain points are, rather than getting into all of the riffraff of this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do, and telling them how you're going to control the conversation, why not just go in there and control the conversation by just
Yeah, first of all,
asking the
I do want to
questions?
say hi to them.
Let
Please
me
don't
give you an
hold anything
example.
against me.
Hey,
Just
Kelly.
we've got a couple other people on the call. Okay. It's there's a all right.
Nothing. I don't hold anything against it. No, I don't hold anything against it. I just trying to do the role play, but without having to
I
do the
understand.
extra
I
objections
understand.
because I don't really get that many objections when I get on a call. If I do get them, I can handle them. But it just so we can make the role play. We got 15 more minutes. We're not getting anywhere in the digging deep because you're asking me questions like out of the blue,
No.
Well,
and
so that's why we're on this. You're not doing anything wrong, Hytham. We're just trying to add upon what we already know, right?
right,
So
but
let me kind of give you an
we're trying to get
example.
to the dig deep so we can, training on the digging deep. And I'm not able to get there because I'm getting the questions that, not a lot of people ask. That you do get asked
So
those questions, but
so I
just for the
think
sake of time, we only got 15 more minutes left and we haven't done one role play yet.
so Hytham, I think you have a set way of doing it, and the way that you want to do it is not working for you. And so you're kind of getting a little bit frustrated. And in that, it's, you know, it you're not getting where you need to go, right? And so that's the whole point of this call right here, is to teach you to lead the call based off of the answers, the statements that the client gives you, and control the call based off of that. Okay. Rather than having a set canned, this is the way it's going to be because this is the way every other call goes. Not every client is the same.
Right.
So if we can learn to think outside the box and ask correct questions, and by all means, I'm not perfect. Nobody knows exactly the right question to ask every single time. It just doesn't happen like that. We're dealing with 7 billion people, more than that, on this earth, and everybody has a different way of thinking, right? So nobody's perfect. That's why we're doing this call, right? So
Right,
let
but the
me kind of
training
give
is
you
not. But the training is not rebuttal and asking those. We're trying to get to the need.
right. My
Training. You know what I
point
mean?
is to get to the need first. You control the conversation. Getting to the need should be at the very beginning,
Okay,
not when you want it to be.
got you.
Okay.
Why don't
So
you,
let me give you an
Sean?
example.
Why don't you be the agent? Let me listen to this
That's what I'm
because
trying to do.
yeah, yep.
Okay. Hey, Kelly. Kelly, can you hear me? Hello, Kelly.
Uh,
Can you hear me,
Sean, can I
Kelly?
have a quick
no,
question really
I'm
quick?
here.
Yeah, sure.
Can I just
Throw one
jump
in there
in?
while Kelly's getting back on.
Idem.
Sure.
No. Idem, can you role play with me really quick? Because I'm so new to this that I'll probably have some objections, but I won't have a lot of crazy ones. Could you just role play with me, and then we can get through a full rep, and then because I personally love the coaching that Sean's giving, but I would love to see a full rep, and then maybe coaching after or whatever. But I would love to see a rep really quick, and then I won't give you too hard of a time if you just want to go really fast.
Yeah,
So,
no, I
Joe,
don't
how
have.
about
I
this?
don't.
How about this? You haven't done it yet, so I want
Well,
to
no,
kind of go
I'll be
through a
the
whole.
client, and Hyden will be the agent.
I understand, but I want to kind of do it first because I want to help hide them here. Does that make sense? And then on the next call, maybe on Monday, we'll have you do it. Okay, Joe?
I'm still here.
All right. Kelly, are you still there?
Sean, can you hear me?
I
I
could be
can't
the.
hear you.
I could be. I could be the client.
You want to be the client? Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
No. Yeah, I can hear you, but it's very faint and you keep cutting out. I'm just teasing. Okay. Hi, them. I'll let you be the client.
All right.
So ring. Hi, them.
Yes.
Hey, this is Sean Simpson. Just giving you a call for our scheduled appointment here. Got you on the schedule to go over in IUL with you. We'll do mortgage protection. Got you on the schedule to go over some mortgage protection insurance here.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to just kind of jump right into it here. What got you interested in, mortgage protection, life insurance?
Well, I've been seeing it online. I've seen a few advertisements online, and just got me wondering what it's all about.
Okay. Why are you wondering what it's all about?
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of advertisements on it on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. So it got me kind of curious of how it works, or what it entails, and what's the purpose of having this type of coverage.
What intrigued you to fill out that form, though? What was it in
What
the
was
ad that you saw that intrigued you?
Oh, it said no medical exam and coverage up to $500,000, and in case if I die or something like that. So kind of want to see if that's something that will fit for me for what I'm trying to maybe protect my family in case if something happened to me.
Oh, okay. So you're worried if something were to happen to you that you wanted to protect your family. Now, do you own a house?
Yes.
Okay. And then did you just refinance it or is it a new mortgage?
No, I purchased this house 2 years ago.
Oh, you did. Okay. So I'm sure you've been getting ads and seeing ads about mortgage protection, life insurance for the last 2 years since you just purchased the house two
Yeah, I've
years.
been seeing it a lot more on Facebook lately. So just got me
Okay.
curious.
So you've been seeing them for the last 2 years. Why now?
No, to be honest with you, I haven't been seeing them for the last 2 years, but just recently, for the last week or so, every time I get on Facebook, I always see that ad. So that's why I got a little bit intrigued about it.
Okay. And then you filled out the form just recently, but you mentioned that you keep seeing the ads. Why did you just fill out the form right now though? I mean, why not 6 months ago? Why not 3 months ago? Why not 2 months ago? Why is this important to you now?
I mean, I don't know what that has to do with anything. I'm want to know more about the coverage. Is that something that you're gonna be able to tell me, or are you gonna keep asking me questions about why I haven't done it?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm, I think I know why, but I really don't want to assume. I don't want to assume anything, right? I mean, your mortgage protection is to pay off your house for your loved one if something were to ever happen to you, right? I think you know that because you saw the ad. That's why you filled out the form. But I guess I'm kind of curious. I mean, we have a lot of agents in this country. You mentioned that you saw tons of ads. I'm just curious, is there something in your life that has changed to get you to fill out the form right now and take action?
No, nothing changed in life. But like I mentioned, I bought my house 2 years ago, so this is my first house, and I just
Okay.
recently started seeing advertisements about mortgage protection, and if you die, it'll pay off the mortgage for your loved ones. So I figured, hey, that may be something that I should look into because I want to protect my family in case of something happened to me. Because obviously we don't know, and nobody knows when they can die, right?
Yeah,
I don't want
absolutely.
to go to sleep and not wake up the next day, and then my family has to figure out what they're going to do with the house and not how they're going to pay for it because my wife is a stay-at-home mother and I have three little children.
You have 3 children.
Yeah,
Okay. And your wife stays at home.
yeah.
Okay. So as of right now, if something were to happen to you, what would your wife do if you can't go to work and earn an income? Or let's say you don't come home in a week. What would your wife do?
Uh, they're gonna have to try to sell the house, but that's the reason why I filled that form out. I'm trying to find a solution.
Okay. And so, and I just want to make sure that I'm clear. You would rather them, you don't want to uproot your kids from schools. You don't want to have them sell the house. You want them to at least have some money to either make the mortgage payment or pay off the house if something were to ever happen to you. Am I clear on that?
Correct.
Okay. Have you been searching around? Have you
No,
spoke with any other agents? Or
nope.
am I
You're
the
the
right
first one I
person?
spoke with. I speak with.
Okay. Okay. Super cool. Now, what do you do for a living, Hytham?
I'm a business owner.
You own your
I
own
own a
business.
mechanic shop.
You do. Okay. How long have you owned that?
About 10 years.
Okay. And then do you do any of the work yourself or do you just kind of run the business?
They just run the business.
Okay. So I asked that question, timeout. I asked that question, right, to determine the risk, right? If he's still doing the work himself, now I may be able to use we have living benefits. If you get hurt, sick, injured, it would help you, that kind of thing, right? Later on in the conversation. But if he's just running the business, now I can possibly use a stress avenue, right? Maybe he's, the stress. If you get stressed out, have a heart attack, living benefits will cover you, that kind of thing, right? I'm just kind of gathering information that I can find and use down the road when it comes to it, right? So let me ask you this, Hytham. How much is your mortgage?
What, the payment or how much I owe?
Both.
So the payment is $2,000, and I owe about 300. $350,000.
So you owe about $350,000, and it's $2,000 a month.
Correct.
Okay. And you own a mechanic shop. What is your monthly income?
20,000.
You make $20,000 a month.
Yep.
Okay. And you just bought the house 2 years ago, so I'm guessing the value of the house hasn't gone up too much. Do you know the value of the house?
Think about around 400.
Okay. So you got about 50,000 of equity in there. Okay. Now, do you pay anything extra on the mortgage to pay off the loan early or no?
No.
Okay. Do you have any type of life insurance product in place right now?
I have a policy that I bought a few years ago.
Okay. What's the name of the carrier that you're with?
I don't really remember. I don't have that paper with me right now.
Okay. So you bought a policy a couple of years ago.
I would say about 4 years ago. About
4
4 or
years.
5, yeah, 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. I don't remember.
Okay. So time out. So based off the information, right, that he's given me, what do you think the next question would be? He already has a policy,
Right.
but he's on the call. I'm going to give you a summary of the information. He's on the call right now because he wants mortgage protection, right? He's also wants to make sure that it's paid off if something were to happen to him. He gets hurt, sick, or injured, or passes away. And he wants to make sure that his family is covered and his kids don't have to be uprooted from school. Right? So what do you think a good next question would be?
Why mortgage protection?
Okay. That's kind of like a that's kind of an emotional question, meaning that you could trigger a response that's kind of contentional. But if we were to ask and we want to ask the logical question, but we want to kind of keep the emotion out of it, right? Because for me, I'd be like, well, why are we on the call then? I mean, you already have insurance, right? But I'm not going to say that. That's what I'm thinking, but I'm not going to say that. I may say something like, well, you mentioned you already have insurance, and you mentioned that you want some mortgage protection to be able to protect your family. How can I help you?
Find
Or
me mortgage protection. I want to protect my mortgage. The other policy that I have it for a different purpose. I want a policy to protect the mortgage.
there we go. Now more information comes out, right?
Right.
His policy is for a different purpose.
Right.
Okay. And that's what I was getting at. I already knew that, but I'm not going to say that. I want him to say that to me. Because if we tell them, if we put it into their brain, telling is not selling. But if they say it to me, then they're selling themselves and they believe it. Right? So what we're trying to get them to do and understand is sell us on why they need the policy right now. That's ultimately the road that we need to get down, is why they need a policy absolutely right now, right? So my next question is going to be, okay, you already have another policy. Does that policy pay off your mortgage? Oh, you mentioned, let me take that back. You mentioned that policy is for something else. What is that other policy for?
Just wanted to leave some money behind.
Okay. Now, who did you want to leave that money behind to?
My family.
Okay. And then how much is that policy for?
200,000.
200,000. So is that going to your wife or your kids?
For my family. For the wife and the kids.
For the wife and the kids. Okay. And so you want a specific another policy to pay off the mortgage if something were to happen to you.
Correct.
Okay. So
1 second, please. All right, ladies. Are all set? All right, I'm on a Zoom call. Don't forget your end of day report. And have a good day, and I will see you guys tomorrow, okay?
okay, so
Good night.
it's at our time right now. We all
Bye-bye.
probably have other appointments. So right now, literally, I would just start going into more of the conversation about his income, his prescriptions, what he's on. And then I would recommend a policy. Along the way, I'm going to get him to, say that he needs to get a policy right now. Okay.
I gotta call my next appointment.
Yeah, no problem. Take care.
All right, I'll see you guys.
So ultimately, we're going to get him to say that he needs to get a policy right now. And a lot of times, once I get to that pain point where it's really, really strong and it's really, really, because I got him to say that, yes, I need a policy. I need a policy for this purpose. And he kept, if you notice, he kept, beating around the bush about why he needs it right now. So I just kept asking the questions in a different way, a different manner, until I got to that point. And eventually you guys will figure out that once you do, maybe it'll take you 15 minutes to get to the real point, the real reason of why he needs it. And you'll ask 15 questions. Well, as you get better at it, maybe the next time it takes you 10 minutes to ask 8 questions to get to that point. And then the next time it takes 5 minutes to get to that point, right? As you get better at it, start learning those questions to ask to get to the point of why he needs it right now, his real pain point. Then you can start peppering in the, financial inventory questions, the, medical condition questions, the finance questions. Why do we ask the finance questions? How much money do you make? How much money is your income? How much, or which is your income, right? And then how much money is your expenses? Because we want to know how much extra gap they have in there. If they have $5,000 of income and they have $5,000 of expenses, you're looking at a chargeback, right? But that's why it's important also to get to the pain point, because it may be so painful for him that he's willing to stop smoking to pay for his life insurance to protect his family, right? I've had people do that. So that's why it's important to get to the pain point. Or you may get to a discovery and they can't give you the pain point. They just don't feel like, maybe you just don't feel like this is the right person that's going to, keep this policy in place. And if that's the case, knowing their income's $5,000 and their expenses are $5,000, you may say, you know what, I'm going to be honest with you. I really can't help you, and turn that client away. Because it's honestly okay to turn a client away that you can't help. Obviously, we want to put everybody in the position as much as possible to get life insurance. But we want to safeguard ourselves, try not to get chargebacks. And we also want to put them in a position where they can afford it, right? Nothing is going to help anybody to put them in a policy for $200 a month. They make the first payment. The next month, they can't make the payment. They got to make a decision of, do I put food on the table or do I pay my life insurance policy? Eventually, they're going to cancel anyways, right? But if we get to a point where they make $5,000 and their income or their expenses is $2,000, and they're telling you, yes, I need it for this purpose, and you got them thinking of, look, if I disappear, my wife is going to have to take the kids and move to another state or move to another part of the city, maybe a lower income part of the city. Now she has to get a job. Now, if she gets a job, since she hasn't been working in 5 years, her income's going to be a lot lower because she's not skilled anymore. She's skilled at being a mom for the last 5 years because I've been the breadwinner. if you can get the client to think of all of those types of pain points, those pain points are going to help them understand why they need to pull the trigger right now and get a life insurance policy to help protect their family. And when you can get them to do that, and then just let them know, hey, I have a policy. Let's submit a request, because if we can't submit a request, then we can't get you approved. And ultimately, you're not the one that makes the decision. The carrier makes the decision. Because if you pay $200 a month for that first month, just that first month payment, you die the next day, they're the ones that have to flip the bill for $350,000 worth of coverage to pay your mortgage. And so they're going to check you out to make sure that you're not on any prescriptions that are going to kill you, that you're not driving recklessly, that you don't have any felonies. And so if they come back and they deny you, we're back to square one. So let's get the process started, submit a request, and see if we can even get you approved. Do you think that this policy, this type of a policy, would help you and your family? Yes. Boom. Now you're going into the application. Simple as that. So we're going to talk about this. This is how the calls go every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The next call is at 4 p.m. on Monday Central Time. And we'll see you guys there.